Now we are solving some of the questions from electrochemistry. This is from 5070 year 2022, paper 21, question number 5C. So what they're asking, the aqueous iron to sulfate is electrolyzed using graphite electrode. So first of all, you should notice that the electrode is inert electrode. Platinum and graphite electrodes are inert electrodes, and the compound is iron to sulfate. So iron 2 ions are there and sulfate ions are there. And as solution is aqueous, so another positive ion in this solution is hydrogen ion, and the negative ion is hydroxide ion. So in this way, these 4 ions are there. Now you have to predict the product. So product at cathode. So cathode is negative. So which of these ions will preferably goes to the cathode? So definitely hydrogen ion is less reactive than iron. So that's why uh, hydrogen ions preferably reduced at cathode. Or in other words, you can say that in reactivity series, iron is above hydrogen. So that's why preferably hydrogen goes to the goes to cathode to reduce. So when hydrogen ions are reduced, then what happens ultimately? Hydrogen gas is obtained. So the product at hydrogen, product at cathode is hydrogen gas. Now the product at cathode is hydrogen gas, and while at anode there are two anions, sulfate ions and hydroxide ions. So preferably hydroxide ion is oxidized. Oxidation occurs at anode and reduction occurs at cathode. So the hydroxide ion are oxidized to produce water, oxygen gas, and loses 4 electrons. So for 4 electrons, there should be four hydrogen, so it should be 2. Okay. Although equation was not required, we have to just answer that what is the product at anode. So preferably hydroxide ion goes to oxidize at anode. So the product would be oxygen gas. Now see, this is another question from the same year and the same paper, but question is 7D. So here they have given that aluminum is manufactured by electrolysis of aluminum oxide dissolved in molten cryolite. So cryolite, when it is molten, it can dissolve aluminum oxide. And there would be aluminum ions, and aluminum ions are Al3 plus because it belongs to group 3. And oxide ions, oxide ions are O2 minus. And the formula of aluminum oxide is Al2O3. So write down the Ionic equation for the reaction at cathode and at anode. So at cathode, aluminum get reduced to produce aluminum in molten state. So aluminum is formed. So this aluminum that is formed here, it is in molten state. If you want to write the state symbol, although state symbols are not required here, but you can write like this. And half equation at anode. So definitely in molten state only these two ions are there. So anion goes to the anode and it loses two electrons to produce one oxygen atom. But you remember that oxygen does not exist as atomic form. So oxygen gas is formed. So if two oxygen atoms are required, so there must be two oxide ions. So for balancing this equation, we should put two here, and as one oxide loses two electrons, so two oxide loses four electrons. So you must write a balanced chemical equation, and your electrons should also be balanced in this case. Now see, this is the question from the same year 2022, paper 22, and question number 8, A and C. These are regarding electrochemistry. And just like the above two reactions, these are related to write chemical equation at different electrodes. But the first part is slightly different. Zinc is a metal. Coating iron with zinc prevents iron from rusting. Explain how a coating of zinc prevents iron from rusting when coating is scratched. And it has two mass, and two important points to mention here is that zinc is more reactive than iron. Zinc is more reactive than iron. So preferably zinc is oxidized first. So zinc is oxidized first and acts as a sacrificial metal. So thus a coating of zinc prevents iron from rusting. And another important point that students should note that it is not necessary to write the last sentence that thus a coating of zinc prevents iron from rusting. Your answer has been completed here. Okay, so your answer has been completed here. Now the C part says the one of the stage in the extraction of zinc involves electrolysis. At cathode, zinc ions are changed into zinc. They have already mentioned here. And at anode, hydroxide ions change to oxygen molecule and water molecule. Write the Ionic equation for the reaction at cathode and anode. So they have given everything. So now it is very much easy to write the answer. So at cathode, zinc is reduced and it produces zinc metal. While at anode, hydroxide ions, if hydroxide ions are there, so definitely you can understand that this reaction occurs in aqueous medium. So anyhow, oxygen is produced as well as water is produced. So if two oxygen atoms are there, so definitely there should be four hydroxide. So four electrons would be liberated. If four hydroxide are there, so definitely four hydrogen must be there. So we should put two for balancing the equation, and one oxygen. So oxygen are balanced, two oxygen are there, and two oxygen are there. So four oxygen are there. So now this equation is balanced. This is another question in the same that you are to write Ionic half equation at different electrodes. So this is the question from May June 21, paper 21, and this is question number, not this is question number 5C, it is question number 8E. So in this question, you are asked to answer that aqueous silver nitrate is electrolyzed using inert electrode. The products of the electrolysis are silver and oxygen. So products are already given. Silver ions are reduced at cathode to make silver. So you have already told that what are the reactant and what are the product. Construct the ionic equation for this reduction reaction. So it is very easy reaction. Ions were already given. So silver ion is Ag plus. So it gain one electron to produce its one atom. So 1 mole of electron produces 1 mole of silver. And for hydroxide, as it was the aqueous solution, again, remember that there were two ions, silver and hydrogen ions, and two anions, which were nitrate and the hydroxide ions. But in electrochemical series, silver is below hydrogen. So if silver is below hydrogen, so that's why preferably silver will be reduced. So silver is reduced. If you see the electrochemical series, hydrogen is above copper and copper is above silver. So preferably silver ions are reduced. So you got the silver. And among the nitrate and hydroxide, preferably hydroxide ions are oxidized. So it has the same equation that we have seen in previous questions as well. So what happens on oxidation? Oxygen gas is produced along with water molecules and electrons are transferred. So four electrons are transferred, four hydroxide ions are there, and for balancing, we should put two here. Explain why solid silver nitrate cannot be electrolyzed. As in solid state, positive and negative ions are intact and cannot be moved. So that's why solid silver nitrate or any solid ionic compound cannot be electrolyzed or they cannot conduct electricity. So the reason is because solid silver nitrate ions are not mobile, or you can say ions cannot move. So that's why it cannot be electrolyzed.